to close with this one, and this is a direct ask. This is a big deal. IRS says churches can now legally endorse political candidates. Churches and other houses of worship registered as tax-exempt nonprofits can endorse political candidates to their congregation, the IRS said on Monday. Let's see. The decision, first reported by the New York Times, was communicated in court filings intended to settle a lawsuit filed by 2 Texas churches and a group of Christian broadcasters. 501c3 nonprofit organizations have long been prohibited from endorsing candidates or otherwise intervening in campaigns for political offices as a condition of their tax-exempt status. That was another lie. That was not true. But pastors and politicians used it as an excuse to keep the religious right out of politics. In its court ruling, the IRS said endorsing candidates neither constituted taking part or intervening in a political campaign as the agency's code currently describes. Bona fide communications internal to a house of worship between the house of worship and its congregation in connection with religious services do neither of those things any more than does a family discussing concerning candidates, the agency wrote. How about that? So the pastor's saying, hey, we got to vote for these school board candidates because they're bringing DEI and trans into our schools. That's just communication with your family, your church family. The IRS also, it noted, not generally enforce prohibitions on endorsing candidates referred to as the Johnson Amendment in the context of worshiping services. A 2022 investigation by ProPublica and the Texas Tribune found that at least 18 churches had endorsed political candidates, and the agency largely looked the other way because they didn't have a leg to stand on legally. This was another lie, and your pastor hid behind this his whole life. Oh, we can't tell you who to vote for. We can't talk about this. The IRS just said, yes, you can. Your job is to send this article to your pastor this week on Sunday. Print it out. Print out that story at WeThePeopleConvention.org and hand it to them and say, now, when are you going to start preaching the Bible and speaking biblically about how we should vote? Because it's now legal. It always was. You just were lied to. The plaintiffs that sued the IRS had previously asked for an even broader exemption, allowing all nonprofits to endorse candidates to their members. In its court filing, the IRS said prohibiting churches from endorsing candidates would create serious tensions with the First Amendment. Yeah, like we have the right. As Christians, you have the right to speak your First Amendment right, to say who you want to vote for. For many houses of worship, the exercise of religious beliefs includes teaching or instructing their congregation regarding all aspects of life, including guidance concerning the impact of faith on the choices inherent in election politics, it wrote. Think about this. How long have we waited for this? How long have they lied to us? Are you going to do that? Every one of you listening who goes to church needs to print this story out at WeThePeopleConvention.org and pass it out to the people in the pews. Take the link on our podcast page and share it with everyone you know. Because it's over. The lie is done. It is past time for churches to preach the Bible and talk about the effects of what these candidates will do to your children, to your community, to your church, for goodness sake. Wow. Think that's a big deal?